Hello, nurse leaders. I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for playing a role in helping to educate this next generation of our workforce, those nursing professionals. We think this opportunity to have preceptor-led clinicals is essential to growing this workforce and having them be best prepared for the workplace instead of getting in the workplace and then being so overwhelmed by it and leaving the profession altogether. So in our nursing leadership clinical, what we're trying to do is getting them to see the challenges that leadership faces, especially as charge nurses and house supervisors, when you're trying to take care of your patients and you're trying to take care of your staff, but you're also trying to meet those needs that are dictated to us by administration. So how do we find that balance? The students do have to get 64 hours, but not all 64 hours with you. I've got a variety of other ways they can get those hours. They are required to get 36 hours with their preceptor, and they can get the others with some things that I have. I'm trying to get them to do some volunteer work and some community service as part of this clinical. One of the things I like to tell preceptors is to think out loud. So when you're working through a problem or working through a process, talk out loud to the student about how you're doing staffing, or what model do you use for patient acuity, and then how do you use a staffing grid to fill that need? How do you interact with upset family members and healthcare providers and fellow nurses that are having a rough day? So what is your role in that? I really like them to see this side so that in 1 year, when they're out in practice, they understand the difficult role of being a nurse leader in healthcare right now, so that they have some kind of context for that. So I'm attaching to this email, I've got our nursing 435 syllabus, and my course objectives are down here, just to be able to look at management. What are you doing that a manager does on a daily basis? Staffing, acuity, all of those things play into budget. And then how are you doing that with your leadership qualities? So we all lead very differently, so allowing them to see some of that leadership from you is awesome. If you have any questions at any time, my cell phone number's on here. I don't hand that out to the students. I do tell them to call me on my office phone, which goes right to my phone also. But you've got my cell phone if you need to text. If you ever have problems with a student or just feel like they're not giving it 100%, don't hesitate to holler at me. We know the Nurse Practice Act allows us to use preceptors because we have such a need for nurses at the bedside, and this is one of the ways to help offset that need and give a student a great opportunity to learn, as well as maybe provide some future employment for that student. I tell the students they're on a 64-hour job interview when they go to the clinical setting for courses. So maybe I tell them you're looking at them at the same time they're evaluating that culture to see if that's something they're interested in. Preceptors, students with nurse preceptors can do anything a registered nurse can do as long as that preceptor is right there with them. I'm the one that's the clinical instructor, so that student falls back on me again. So if you have any trouble with that student, don't hesitate to reach out to me. They will also provide you with a QR code that allows you to provide feedback with them for every shift they complete with you. I do it that way so that if you need to say something that's not positive on that student doesn't know you've submitted that. I get that information, and it helps me to complete their evaluation at the end of the course. Again, I can't emphasize enough, thank you so much for doing this. It's the only way we're going to grow nurses in Southern Illinois, to stay in Southern Illinois and work in Southern Illinois. And I believe it's the best way to do that and to have them acclimated to our culture. Also, don't hesitate to reach out to me, either email, office phone number, or cell phone at any time this semester you need it. And again, thank you for playing a role in the future workforce development. Thanks.